Welcome to Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt of the Marquardt Law Firm at marquardtlawfirm.com.
Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt here with Regina Yockey, Administrator for Avenues Home Care. This is the fourth segment, so we like to talk about legacy.
It's time for the Talk Law Radio Legacy Spotlight. What's your legacy? Sponsored by Marquardt Law Firm.
Okay, so you know that I'm an attorney. We focus on business and estate law, including last wills, living trusts, and tax-protected inheritance plans. It's all about legacy.
Yes.
So we like to ask our guest about legacy, and that could be something you inherited or something you want to pass down, or values that you've learned from those who have gone before you, or values that you want to leave to those that you love.
That question right there is beyond excellent. I'm going to actually have two answers for it, though. One of them, when you say planning, please plan. I am not kidding. When I say it is so important to have those documents in place, people don't understand that when somebody can't make a decision, who's going to make a decision for them? And having the wills in place, having everything set up, trust, all of it, how is it going to get paid? It makes such a difference when it comes time to have us in place, because then we know who we need to talk to, who we need to deal with, and we know what their wishes are. So please make that decision. Do it sooner than later. My parents didn't do theirs and didn't do it for a long time, and I have a special needs brother. And I finally had to put my foot down. We have to get this done because there was no decisions made in place on what was going to happen to him, how it was going to play out. So I'm going to put just that little highlight because I deal with it all the time. Women are not protected. I'd really like to say women are not protected. The men kind of take care of a lot of these documents, and they're not really telling their wives, how things are going to be done if they were to pass away. And it's just important. So that side
Thank
note.
you.
So, but family heirloom. I really thought about that one. So for me, I'm going to go on a more personal level on this one. I've been married for 29 years, married my high school sweetheart. And I think really for me, my heirloom, or what I want to pass on, is more of a personal advice. I have two beautiful girls. I have now an amazing son-in-law that's in the Army. And for them and their lives moving forward, what it is to be married. I don't think people value what it is to be married as much anymore. And so my advice, if I could give that to anybody and to have them keep it, is lift up your spouse. So many people get into groups and they're like, well, my wife did this, and they just go on. And it's just kind of it's just sad to hear how they will just break people down. When you're with somebody, lift up your spouse, because maybe your little moment of stress with them is just a moment. But if you tell your friends that they're the worst person in the world and things are awful, then there's a perception that's given. But if you always are encouraging and lifting up your spouse, I think you find you work better together, you communicate better, you have a more compassionate and loving relationship. That I think that's what I want my children to take from me as their heirloom, is more of a personal advice.
That's awesome.
So,
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
What's the second thing?
Well, the second thing was the paperwork, those documents. That's really important. But I mean, I think those two are really my two key points for heirloom of what you need to do, prepare in life, and then also love and support.
Well, I want to say something about your wishes. You said make sure people know what your wishes are. So I invented the take care of clause. There are some attorneys, when they're preparing legal paperwork, it's only about passing down assets after I die. And I've seen some trusts that don't even address disability or incapacity. I have a whole article for that section. And so if somebody says, I never want to go into a nursing home like my mama, we put that into the take care of clause. If they want to stay home no matter what, even if it's expensive, even if nobody gets an inheritance, then that's what we want to help them achieve.
Yeah.
And likewise, you said something about the nice assisted living places being a cruise ship on land.
Cruise ship on land, yes.
Some people have told me that they really want that. They're social butterflies, and they want to play bingo, and they want to go on day trips, and they want to be with people their own age and people to communicate with through their retirement. So that's the take care of clause. And another reason that I invented it is because adult children would come into my office and they would say, I'm the power of attorney. What do I do?
Yeah.
I say, well, that's a permission slip. You have to figure it out. And so I started working with existing clients and say, you can do instruction-based planning instead of permission slip planning. Tell them what you want them to do. And we put that in the take care of clause. And it helps to prevent disagreements among their children or grandchildren, whoever's going to be taking care of them. I represented an adult child one time. Him and his brother were co-agents under power of attorney. They were supposed to make decisions together, but instead they were making decisions independently. And so one brother would take their dad to assisted living. The other brother would take him out of assisted living and bring him home and pay for home care.
Right.
Well, there's a setup cost every time you do that. And so it was expensive. And then they accused each other of stealing dad's money, which I figured out they weren't. They just didn't communicate.
Right.
And
that happens so frequently. I think, again, back to the planning part, I have a client right now. The husband's incapacitated. The wife is incapacitated, but he has all the documentation. She doesn't have a medical power of attorney. She doesn't have any kind of safeguard like that. And if something happens to him, now there's really nothing that's going to cover her. And where does she go? What does she do? Who makes decisions for her? Because she's not going to be able to do that herself. So then you get into the guardianship and the ad litem, and so it complicates it. So but having these discussions early in life, even to the point of, can dad drive anymore? Who's going to tell him the keys are going to be taken? We as care managers with our organization at Avenues, we can have some of these hard conversations.
I was just going to ask you about that.
Yeah, so we have care managers that can go in and sit down with families and talk to them like, what does dad want to do? Did you know that? Did you know that he didn't want to go to hospital? He didn't want to go to an assisted living. He only wants to stay at home. He's okay with using his finances for this, or no, this is not what his wishes are. Being a medical power of attorney, can be a big decision. I just recently lost a family member, and they had to make the hard choice. They had to pull the medical power of attorney, had to make the decision, and she passed away. But if that decision wasn't already out there and that knowledge wouldn't have been out there, she could have been on life support for a long period of time. And then the family's finances would have been, completely taken away and utilized for all her care, which is fine. But knowing what her wishes were, they knew what the best next step was. As our parents age, having those conversations, my mom's not able to answer these questions anymore. She has dementia. And knowing that when she had her stroke, she didn't want to live like that. If it would have progressed more, we would have had to make that hard decision. But knowing what her wishes were helped that. It didn't put the burden on me. It put the burden on knowing she's already told me what it was. I know how to follow through. Yes, it's a hard one if that would have happened, but it's a lot easier not to have to wonder what they wanted.
So let's say there's an older person that's living alone independently, and they have friends and neighbors and distant relatives. How do you know when it's the right time to bring in the home caregiver?
So just having those conversations, coming in. If I've had a neighbor come in the other day, her neighbor was having all these issues, and so we went over and did an assessment. I've gone into families and I said, you know what, this is a little early. I would love to come and help you, but it's a little early. And you know what? They call me back a year later. we're ready.
What are
They
some of
knew.
the questions on the assessment?
So one of them is, do you need help in home? Do you need help with bathing? Well, do you need hands-on help, or do you just need maybe a standby? Do you need a full assistance on that? So bathing, and when you start seeing somebody have medication errors, that's another really key sign that it's time to call somebody in. We can have a caregiver come in and do medication reminders just on a regular basis. And that alone keeps them out of the hospital. You want to keep them out of the hospital as long as possible. So just a little extra help in home will extend that time for them to be there safe and independent. That companionship helps with depression. They, just somebody coming in and engaging with them once a week, 3 times a week, whichever might be the best, is what's going to make the difference. But coming in and just having that conversation again, I know I keep saying that, but that's what I want to reiterate. It's make it an open conversation. We go in, we talk to them. You put sheets on the bed? Yeah. Well, how long does that take you? Well, it takes me like an hour to do that because my shoulder's kind of frozen, my knee hurts. Well, we can come in 15 minutes and get this done. Or we can do it together, and now it's only a 20-minute exercise. Right. You're doing something, we're doing something, but now you're not tired for the rest of the day.
Right.
Moments like that is what are indicating maybe now is a time to start. When somebody has dementia, there's a lot of pushback having somebody come into the home. I don't know them. Why are they in my house? Why are you telling me what to do? The secret is slowly bring it in. Let's start with 1 day a week. Now we need 3 days a week. Okay, now we've, progressed. Now we need the full week filled with caregiving services. But that's why we're the experts in it, is that we can help guide them to understand, you need 4 hours in the morning, 4 hours in the evening? No? Okay, we need a full 24 hours. We're the ones we see what happens.
And what number should they call?
Our number for our San Antonio office is 210-236-5582. And you can always ask for me. I'm always available.
Regina Yockey, Administrator of Avenues Home Care, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
A lot of fun.
Yes.
We'll talk to you later.
All right, bye.
This has been Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt, brought to you by the Marquardt Law Firm. You can learn more at marquardtlawfirm.com. And be sure to listen to the full Talk Law Radio show Saturday mornings at 11 on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Most families don't realize they have hidden legal blind spots until it's too late. Wills, trusts, Medicaid planning, even protecting a business. These are the kinds of issues attorney Todd Marquardt helps uncover before they become problems. Todd is the host of Talk Law Radio, where each week he guides listeners through the legal challenges families, veterans, and business owners face, while showing them the practical steps to protect what matters most. Catch Talk Law Radio, Saturdays at 11 a.m. on 9:30 a.m. The Answer, 6:30 a.m. The Word, and now in Houston on AM 1070 and 103.3 FM The Answer, or anytime on YouTube. Planning isn't just about documents. It's about peace of mind, security for loved ones, and building a legacy that lasts. Don't wait for a crisis. Do it before you die.